back to the Clubhouse 54 podcast. I'm Michael Little, Drew Lockhart, and we have a special guest with us here today. He is the lead instructor of Merion Golf Club, Nick Iacono.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Welcome, Nick.
Yeah, welcome, Nick. Yeah. So I have a few comments to make before we get started here with Nick today. So I met Nick for the first time in 2013, and it was in a playoff at the Hyman at Huntington Valley Country Club.
The Hyman, by the way, they need to change the name.
No, the name's great. Stop, Drew. So we're in a playoff. I think we both shot 2 under that day. I was like the first group out. Nick was one of the last groups out. And I was actually buying my house. My first house purchase was that same.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That same day.
Oh, wow.
And we were touring the house, and my wife goes, actually, I got a text from Joe Kogelman, and he goes, dude, you're in a playoff. Like, you better get back there. So I drove back down, and I was hanging out on the range and waiting, I think, for you to finish, I believe, because you were one of the last groups. And I'm like, who's this Nick guy? Like, where did this guy come from, right? Like, but people probably said the same exact thing about me, right? Because it was young, it was early on in our careers, and we get onto the first playoff hole, and I remember you hit your ball right into the right bunker with a back right pin on 1 at Huntington Valley, and I'm like, all right, I won the golf tournament. Like, this is easy. I got an 8-footer for birdie, right? Like, no way he gets up and down out of that bunker. Hits the best bunker shot I've ever seen in my life, right? Hits it to like 4 feet. I missed my birdie putt. He makes his par putt, and we just keep going around. We play what? It was a 4-hole playoff, I believe. 3-hole playoff.
Yeah.
And I remember this, and I was a little rude to Nick on the second playoff hole. He hits his first putt up there, and he goes, "I'm just going to finish out." And I go, "No, you're not."
Oh God, I forgot about that. Oh God, yeah.
I'm gonna finish out. No, you're
not.
not.
I go, "No, you're not," and because I had like 6 feet for par.
Well, you're right. I'm not allowed to. I mean, it's technically match play, right? So I can't really hit that putt in at that point.
Yeah, and I'm like, I want to hit first here. Like, I want to put the 6-footer in to put a little bit of pressure on this 3-footer. You know, like I don't want him to knock it in and now sit there and laugh at me when I miss when I 3-putt, right? So whatever. So we get to the next hole, and Nick ends up, I believe he birdied the last hole, or maybe he parred it and I bogeyed it, but I don't remember that part because I was mad that I didn't win the golf tournament. But congratulations to you again on that win. But then I see Nick again in a golf tournament, and we're just head to head, just playing in an event, and he beats me again in that tournament. And then we played match play together. And I have a
Waynesboro, right?
At Waynesboro Country Club.
Yeah.
And I had a putt on the 18th hole to extend it to extra holes. And it was like a 6-7 footer, a little downhill left to right, a hard putt.
It wasn't easy.
Make the putt. We go to extra holes. The second playoff hole, I have, no lie, like 3 feet for birdie to win the match. And I almost 3-putted it. And then he wins on the next hole. So Nick is my kryptonite. I'm just going to start calling Nick Lex Luthor. He is my kryptonite. And for whatever reason, I can't beat Nick. And I love it, and it's great. And I think, now that you're back in the Philly section, we're going to continue to have these battles, which is going to be a ton of fun.
And it was funny. So, my last club, a member went to go get a putter fitting for you, and he mentioned my name, and the first thing that came out of your mouth was, man, that guy, my kryptonite. And he came back and told me, and I just couldn't stop laughing in my lesson because, that's how we really introduce each other. And then from there, it's like we always found ourselves in these situations, and now it's like I'm sure it's just going to happen again. But
oh yeah, of course. Yes.
But now but the beginning of that playoff, we're going to look at each other and start cracking up laughing because we feel like we've been here before.
Well, and if you look at the current match play this year, if both of us win our next match,
I lost my first match.
Oh, you lost.
So I got smacked. Oh. So I went to Little Mill to play Mike, who's the new DOG there, and I know the course well. It's his home course. I'm like, I'll play, and I just first 5-6 shots, put him dead in the middle, 1 up, 1 down, even, all that kind of stuff. Then I lost 5 holes in a row because I didn't put the ball in the fairway. Wow. So at that point, I'm like, oh, okay, well, and I think I lost 5 and 4.
Wow.
Like I got smacked.
All right.
So unfortunately, we won't have that pleasure until maybe section match play at the end of the year.
Literally, when I looked at the bracket, that's the only thing I highlighted.
I actually looked at that too. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm like, all right, there's Nick. I'm like, I just got to prepare myself for that match and that match only.
Because you're the what seed?
I think I'm 8 or 10, maybe.
Yeah, it's
10.
funny. I'm looking at brackets and I'm like, oh, I'm like looking at the people top seats. I'm like, okay, Mike's in this bracket. I'm like, okay, I think I can make it work. But
And so do they do the seedings off of points for the year? Is that how they do that?
From the previous year.
From the previous year, not current year, previous year.
because this is a new one, right? The season long is fairly new.
Yeah.
They have a section match play every year where it's based on, I think, your finish from last year and points.
Yeah, so it would be points that current year points.
Yeah.
Is where the seeding would be. And then obviously defending champion always gets number 1 seed. So yeah.
So Nick, tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how you got into golf and where you grew up.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Hockessin, Delaware, so just a little bit away from Wilmington. Didn't play golf really at all. I thought golf was kind of dumb for a while, so I did. I was going to pursue skateboarding. That was kind of like my main deal, and got a lot of sponsorships, and then kind of 16, 17, body's not really working too well. Took a break, and my dad just one day, August prior to my 18th birthday, he just looked at me and said, "Get a collared shirt on. Get shorts on. You have a golf lesson. You have no choice." Wow. So, yeah, he just threw me into the fire. He had to pick one of his 3 sons. I was the guinea pig, of course, the youngest. So he took me to a golf lesson. It was John Dunningen at Hartfeld. So John's been a couple different places now. So first lesson, first time hitting a golf ball was with him, and then just kind of got hooked. And then that was really it from there. I mean, I would skateboard 7-8 hours a day. So golf's the perfect way to kind of fill in that time void. So, and I'm a very stubborn individual, so I want to be good at everything I do. So that was kind of an easy flip.
Nice. Alien Workshop, is that the board you used?
No, I used PAL. I was a PAL and Spitfire guy.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Alien Workshops were good, don't get me wrong. But yeah, PAL, Plan B, and actually some Element skateboards too. A little bit of those guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
My wife challenged me that I couldn't do a kickflip like 5 years ago.
Did you do it?
I did it.
Oh,
I landed it barely.
I just skateboarded like 3 days ago. I saw my brother's skateboard because he skateboarded too. Saw a skateboard in the garage, and I'm like, let me see if I could do a switch heel flip. And I did a first try. I'm like, oh, of course, you're like, oh, maybe I should keep doing it. Then you realize 4 tricks later, you're probably going to break your arm or something. So I'm like, I'm 1-0 right now. I'm going to take that win and leave.
Yeah. Don't do it. You can't afford to get hurt.
No, and yeah, exactly. I don't need any more injuries at this moment.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. So what happened from there after you started getting your golf lessons? Did you end up going to college for golf?
Yeah, so I played other than skateboarding, I did baseball and wrestling for a long time. And so it was my senior year of high school. I walked on the team, made top 5, and then walked on my college golf team. And by sophomore year, I was number 1 on the team. So just walked on, played all 4 years. We had a pretty good team. Went to nationals 3 out of the 4 years, which was great. Went to Elizabethtown College in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, right next to Hershey, the factory. Our campus would smell like chocolate half the time.
Nice.
Get free chocolate. It's not a bad gift.
How are you so skinny then?
My fiance wonders that every day. The amount of food I eat and the amount of weight I don't gain. At some point, it's just gonna clash, and I'm gonna be like 400 pounds. But
it has to.
It's got to. The metabolism can't run this high this far this long. It's not gonna work.
Well, I'm sure you're busy on the range teaching all day, and that helps. We know that. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's great. So then, when did you realize you wanted to be a golf professional?
So, I went to school to be a math teacher.
Okay.
So halfway through college, I'm starting to progress really well. Broke par after 2 years at Hershey East, and I'm like, I think I'm pretty good at this. So decided to change my major to economics, had the math minor. Then sophomore year, I'm like, I want to either play golf competitively, realize that it's very difficult. You think you're good, but you're really not that good.
Yep.
Yeah. And so decided that I wanted to marry kind of teaching and golf together. And right outside of college, probably it was actually 2 days after college, got an assistant pro job, started teaching and coaching then. So I've been teaching for about 12, 13 years now.
What year was that?
So I've had golf jobs prior to this, but it was 2011 is when I first became a professional and a coach and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what club was that at?
That was Odessa National Golf Club in Middletown, Delaware. Okay. Dale Laceline was the head pro there.
Okay.
Really, really good, very, very good junior golfer. And then, still a great golfer in his own right.
Okay. Nice. Awesome. So then just kind of walk us through that then, because how I know Nick is from the playoff in 2013. Then you left the section, no idea where you went, right? Probably by my own fault. Then you reemerged in Philly as a top teaching pro. Like 3 years ago? Let's just say 2020, right? And then this year you started at Merion as the lead instructor. So can you just kind of walk us through your career there and how all that developed?
Yeah, so, working in Delaware, wasn't really sure. Like, the business was kind of like, it's so new to me, and I didn't have really anybody around me except for Dunningen to kind of, like, lead me to where I should go. So golf, Florida made sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Florida and was a pro at the Polo Club of Boca Raton, and, I was really fortunate working there because there was a guy, God rest his soul, James Muir. He was a TPI guy, K-Vest, all this kind of stuff. And he really got me to dive into graphs and numbers. So being a math guy, I'm kind of like already really attracted to that. So went down there and learned a ton. But, wasn't as coaching as much as I was like, but I would study a ton. But you're behind a counter running tournaments a lot. So I'm like, that's not really what I want to do. So a buddy of mine, James Lichtenberger, who's a born and bred Bethpage, New York guy, like the accent, everything. I think he calls sauce gravy, which is wrong.
Nice.
I got to correct him a lot of the time, but that's another conversation. We could talk hours about that.
Well,
but he
just
said,
go to Delco. You hear it all day long.
Oh yeah, my fiance's a Delco girl. Believe me, we had this argument a couple times. So, but he said if you really want to be a top teacher, the Met section is where it's at, because if you can establish yourself well in New York, you can essentially go where you want. In a sense, he's like, other than Philly, we have the top golf courses, top events, a lot of top teachers. And doing my research, he's right.
Yeah.
Seeing all these guys, like James Hong at Harbor Links and like Kevin Sprecher at Sleepy Hollow, all these guys, influences from Rob Labritz. And, you get to meet people and, it's what you know, but it's also who you know too. So kind of made that, move to New York and really just developed programs for golf clubs. And from there, started teaching pros, got to talk into section stuff, got involved because I just want to be involved, because you're not going to be heard unless you make a point to put yourself out there.
Yep.
And I'm not afraid to public speak. I enjoy having conversations. So, through that, it really kind of catapulted me a little bit because of who I knew and what I'm studying, and my students are doing well. And then got a phone call from Dunningen actually wanting to be, asking like, I got a teaching job for you. So I got the director of instruction job at Chester Valley, kind of continued that trend with, going to open forums and putting myself in front of guys like Chris Cuomo and all these kind of guys that are big influences in the golf instructional business and coaching business. And just kind of from there, just kind of kept going on my own trend, investing in myself, studying a ton. As I was saying earlier, I'm very stubborn. I don't like being bad at anything, and I won't accept mediocrity. That's just not my like forte. Like, I want to be great, so I just want to kind of continue that trend. And then teaching some fellow PGA pros, helped me out, because Joanna gave her a short game lesson and kind of progressed into helping her out with her game, and she kind of snatched me up because they're going to be doing some pretty cool things at Merion, and they needed someone else to help with that.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, just talking to you, even when I first met you, that you don't settle for mediocrity, right? Like you want to be the best. Like, it was very obvious when I first met you, and and some people look at that as cocky, arrogant, right? But I look at it as confident, right? Like, that's who you are as a person. Like, you want to be the best at what you can do, and I mean, that's awesome. I mean, and hats off to you for owning it, because a lot of people don't own that. It's taken myself like a while to kind of come out of my own shell to just do this right here, to do a podcast, so like, hats off to you, man. That's awesome. I love where your career's at. I love how you got there. I mean, it's a great story.
Yeah.
We're always talking about leveling up, like trying to continue to do better things than what we were continually doing. And it's nice to hear that, that your passion for the game and how you want to always try to better yourself. It's it's inspirational for somebody that's in the program and trying to get into the business even deeper than I am right now. So kudos to you for having it. There's not a lot of people in the business that are like that. There's a lot of people that get complacent and want to just kind of, they get the job that they need and they just kind of stay there. And that's unique to me. And, so, if I could describe a good word about you, you're very unique. You're outgoing so far. So again, kudos to you, man.
I appreciate that. And I've gotten comments about me about being arrogant, and once you really get to know me, I'm really not. I'm a very nice guy. I'm all about helping you out. But, it's like I'm kind of the person that you're not entering a tournament to get second and be like, you're friends with people, but once I'm on the golf course, I'm looking to beat you. I am your friend, don't get me wrong, but I have a little bit of a switch that I just, people translate confidence and wanting to be great with arrogance, and I don't think being a little arrogant is bad, because you look at the greats in the game, they weren't like, oh, powder puff, like, oh, do your best. No, like they want to make you look bad, and we're in a competitive world, and you have to work hard to earn what you need. And when it comes to my game, I'll get up there early before I teach for 10 hours a day, but because I don't want to be bad, because I know you play a tournament and you're like, did I prepare the way I should? And if you don't, then shame on you, because you're taking the ownership of your failures. You shouldn't blame anybody. And that's what I try to instill in my students. Like, you can be as great as you want, but you got to put the hard work and time into it. So,
do you think that that's some of the challenges that golf professionals face? I mean, because their clubs are constantly like, hey, you need to be behind the counter, but you also need to go win a golf tournament, and I don't think guys can properly, and gals, sorry, can properly prepare for golf tournaments because they're constantly being pulled in so many different directions.
Yeah, and that's why, too, we all start, like, as assistant pro. Like, I started washing carts. Like, I was washing carts all day, every day. Like, you got to start somewhere, but, depending on how you see the business, and I know a lot of people are trying to have the work-life balance because the golf business is brutal. We're seeing people leave the business because, they can't take a Sunday off, or they can't, have a day with their family and all that kind of stuff. But, that's why also forever I never really wanted to be a head pro. I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because, I really enjoy teaching, and I could make my own schedule. So if I work and I just continue to do so, I'm a workaholic. I just love to work. If you work really hard now, then later on you can choose to make your own schedule as you see fit.
Yep.
So that's why also, I think the progression, Dunnigan would call it the progression of greatness with anything he talks about. He has a lot of Dunniganisms. But,
love it.
Like, you gotta continue to progress to be where you want to be, so that way you can have that nice balance. And, that's why I think some people remain stagnant in the business, because it's like they have a job, they're afraid to move up, they don't know what it's going to do. You got to just dive head in. You got to just go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you got to jump out of the plane, right? I mean, sometimes you got to take a chance. What do you think is the best job in the golf business for playing?
For playing? Well, it's funny, because the one thing I never knew, like in the Mets section, they'll hire you, and it doesn't matter. I mean, some clubs literally just want a player. Like, I know guys, really nice guys, my friends that, I respect a ton, that their clubs just hired them pretty much to play and work maybe 30 hours a week, maybe.
Yeah.
Which, like, so, but for me, it's kind of like, I love practicing and playing and stuff like that, but making literally playing a tournament my job seems more stressful. Like, I know how I'm going to get a paycheck. It's through teaching.
Yeah.
And I can help people in the same sense. I can spread the word and elevate other people's, level of golf. But, I think, being a playing pro, yeah, that's the best way to improve it. Or being an outside staff guy with status, if it's, B or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's probably the best thing to do for a player.
Yeah. Now, when you're entering the PGA program, now you have to select, what you want to do. Yeah. So, I guess for the listeners, where should they, if that's like their goal, we know where they would go if they want to be that business guy or gal, right? We know where they go there. But if they want to have that flexibility of playing with it, what do they choose? Is it the teaching and coaching route? Is it, or it's like what you're saying, hey, just be a lifetime assistant and wash golf carts,
I actually was upset that Caddy Master wasn't on the list.
Yeah, well,
I think they
I'm kidding.
I thought it was. No?
I'm kidding.
I don't know. Drew's in the program.
the
He would
program,
know.
I
but
love the
I
term
haven't-
caddy
I
master.
haven't-
I love caddy masters are like
Oh no, they're the
like
best.
they're like the coolest guys because they take no crap. They tell like you're either the caddy's if he's not there, you're done for probably like a week. He's not taking any of it.
Yep.
These guys are like there's people you have to be friends with in the business when you work at a golf club.
And the caddy master is
Caddy
number
master's
one.
one of them.
Yep. He's almost number one. I agree
I
with
mean,
Drew.
because
Depending
he
on
can
the
make
club.
because like when it comes, he can make your life easy, or he can make your life miserable.
Yep.
So if outside operation, head operation guy, whatever it is, that's the dude you better be friends with, and you better not get on his bad side because there's a trickle down effect. And
But there's a ton of caddy masters out there that are great, but they've not gone through the program or anything like that because that's not their forte.
well, and they don't need to. I
Yeah,
mean,
they don't have
don't
to.
need
and
to.
that's
It's
and
not a
that's-
requirement. I
and that's
get that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A caddy master doesn't have. I mean, there's certain positions. Like you look at a lot of top coaches, they're not PGA. I mean, I did PGA because I was told, and it does hold water that if you're not
Status.
PGA, you're not going to get a job because if it's someone with A qualifications out of the same as this guy, and this guy's PGA and this guy's not, the PGA guy's going to get the job because the club won't have to pay for the PGA at all. The probably pay for dues if you're lucky enough to have those benefits.
Yep.
But they're not going to want to pay $8,000-$9,000, whatever it is, to go to Frisco and do all the book work because they already have a guy that's already there,
Yep.
and it elevates the status of the club.
Yep.
Because you got to. It's like, all right, we have PGA assistants. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like, there was a little bit there, like, say, 2010 area where clubs really weren't looking at that. And I feel like that PGA is coming back. It's starting to become stronger and stronger,
that was
having PGA next to your name.
Because I had a conversation with a bunch of people because I wasn't sure if I should. There was like the golf school in Myrtle Beach.
Yep.
Remember that?
I went there.
Yeah, there's the PGA. There's like, I was told to do so many different things, but I just said, look, the PGA is PGA, so I'm just going to do PGA. But I got pulled in 4 different avenues about what to do, and I kind of just flipped the coin at that point. Like, all right, I think and with talking to Dunnigan, I'm like, I'm just going to do PGA.
Yeah, it seemed to level back out now. It's all narrowed back to the
Right.
PGA again, which is awesome for the PGA of America.
Correct.
They do a fantastic job.
And their new offices, I was just there for PJ Hope training, and they got Quintec, TrackMan, Foresight. I mean, they got it all. It's indoor chipping and bunker area. It's fantastic. Don't blade a ball. I mean, I bladed a one real bad, and all you heard was just like, if you walk in top right corner, there's a huge dent. That's me.
Nice. Should put your name under that.
I wanted to ask, Mike, can you do you have people sign that? You should have people sign the dent that you make,
Oh,
or
that's
like
awesome.
the crack in like the window or whatever. Like, you should just sign that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a real part of the PGA here.
Hopefully, we're both there next year together in the National Club Pro.
Yeah.
But, no, I'm looking forward to getting down there and checking it out. I mean, the facility just looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. They did a really good job.
Now, are you certified in teaching and coaching as well? through
Yeah, I
PGA?
am. Yeah, and I think unless they changed it, I'll be eligible to be a master teaching pro, which I just want to do. Do you need it? Not really, but it's just kind of nice to have a. I've always kind of wanted a master's in something. Yeah, does it qualify you? I mean, sure, but it's just nice saying that you're a master teaching pro. It's just kind of got a nice little.
It's what, 7 years, right?
I thought it was it's 7 or 8 years. So I got my Class A in 2014. So I'm pretty much I think after this year I can kind of do it.
Oh, so is it after you get your Class A? I thought it was after you got certified.
No, so it might have changed, but and again, I might have misunderstood it. That I think it's from when you get your Class A, you have to have your Class A in good standing for 8 years. If it's not, then
That makes sense because my boss at my club is going now through the same program with the master program, and he was certified, I believe, in 2009, something like that. So he just got information from the PGA about it.
Then it definitely changed.
Yeah,
because when I got my certification in teaching and coaching as well, but I got it back in 2016, and at that time they said it was 8 years. I have to wait 8 years to go through.
Oh,
the
maybe
master
then,
program.
yeah.
So it must have changed it because they reworked a lot of things. So I'm
And
sure
there's
that was one of them.
something to be said about going through that program and doing it. There's not a lot of people that take that extra step.
No, what is it, Nick? You're one
I'll
of
tell
what?
you what.
It's like a small percentage.
The funniest thing was, so level 1 is like a, it's fun, but it's like a giant party. Like that's when you meet all your, like my best man I played college golf against, and I met him, reconvened randomly in level 1. Now he's my best man for my wedding next year.
Nice.
But like it's like you meet people, you do all these things, and then but level 2, it drops off like almost, I want to say like 50-60%. And then from level 2 to level 3, I think I had like almost 110 people in level 1. In level 3 when I went, there might have been 20.
Wow.
And then from there, the teaching and coaching, I think it's 1% of all PGA pros go to be a master teaching pro. Don't hold me to the numbers, but I know it's really low.
It has
and I
to
think
be.
certified in anything is like, it might be 5 or 7% off of, like I'm just making a number up. I know this the special, I mean the master one, that's like there's literally a wall that's not that big that shows every master teaching pro in the country at the old PGA. And if I'm thinking of 33,000 pros, I think that's less than 1%.
So why do you think more pros don't do it?
I mean, it could be constraints based off time, funds. Do they even need it? You know what I mean? Like,
But that's where I start looking at the clubs and saying, well, why aren't the clubs rewarding the pros for
like
being
yeah,
educated?
kind of getting some skin in the game if you become like a master teaching pro and you're hired. I mean, I don't know. It's just,
Do you think that your path to Merion would have changed if you say weren't a certified teaching pro?
I don't think it would have changed because like I really like my courses I worked at. They were all great, but if I named off my golf courses, you probably never heard of any of them. Like they're just golf courses. But I mean, I think it helped. Definitely didn't hurt. I think it just helped if anything.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I wouldn't say like crazy help, like a specialization. It just shows that you want to be better at what you want to do. But I mean, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
I know plenty of guys that are great DOI jobs and they're not specialized.
Yeah.
They're just Class A.
Yeah.
Because you don't really need it in that field that much.
Yeah. I think if anything, it's more of like, well, a lot of us we would do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
To prove it to ourselves that you can get to that point. Hey, like you said, you just want to have a master's, right? Like
I just want to have. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason. I just Also, I can't have my fiance have a master's and me not now. So I got to make sure that I'm got to level up with her.
I want to go out to dinner with the two of you. That would be a great
I
conversation.
tell you what, we've never. I'll knock on wood. We've never had an argument since we've been dating ever. I swear to God.
You just jinxed yourself,
I
man.
know. I say this a lot. The only argument we had was when she's gonna kill me. Is that
argument
when she's
number
a diehard
one?
Baseball. We're diehard. We watch every single Phillies game.
Nice.
Every single one. We're diehard, baseball fans, all this kind of stuff. And I said, it's like JT's got 3 ribbies. And she looked at me. She's like, "What's a ribby?" And I'm like, "You call yourself a baseball fan and you don't know what a ribby is?" So I called her. She's like, it's not a common term. Like, I'm going to call 5 people randomly, and I'm just going to ask them, "Do you know what a ribby is?" And they're like, "Yeah, an RBI, run batted in." And I think that was the closest thing we've came to an argument, but it was me just shunning her because she called herself a diehard baseball fan and didn't know what a ribby was. I love you, Stefania.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, even our whole wedding, we got a plan, and we haven't had one argument.
Wow.
So, what's it
I know
like?
When's it come? When it comes, can you call me and let me know?
I'll call
how
you.
it
I'll
was?
let you know. But like, yeah, we argued about like cupcakes. It was nothing.
Oh, it will be.
Big.
It'll
The
be
registry.
flowers.
Don't do the registry.
Time
Just
of the
say,
wedding.
"Trust me, babe. Whatever you want, you get. Don't go for the registry stuff." I'm telling you, you are doomed if you do it.
We already got. We're about to plan it, and we agreed on the registry what we want.
We did the same thing until you go, and then it's like, I'm telling you, I wouldn't even go. And if you do go, chew some gum or do something to keep your
Something simple.
Just something
So
simple.
she's a dietitian. She'll be like, "Why are you chewing that kind of gum? There's too much sugar in it." And I'll be like, "All right, I can't do it."
Now I know why you're so skinny. All right, now I see how you keep your figure.
He's
Okay.
he's
My
chewing
beautiful-
diet
my
gum.
beautiful figure.
Got it.
Ladies,
I
I'll
love it.
teach you all the secrets. Don't worry.
All right, yeah, we'll have a side conversation on all that.
So
I need all the help I can get right now.
I got a question for you. How is it like teaching retired or former PGA professionals or current PGA professionals? Is it intimidating, and do you feel like they've heard the same things maybe you're saying, or how do you approach something like that?
No, I mean, once I get in the lesson tee, that's like the least nervous I'm in anything. I'm pretty calm, and I think PGA pros that, that because they teach amateur golfers, and sometimes you get amateur golfers that really don't listen to what you say.
That's almost 50% of them.
So
honestly.
like, I mean, I'm kind of like, look, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. It's not like, that's why I like teaching, because there's no absolutes, but like the ball's not going to lie. Like if you're slicing it and you're arguing about it, you don't like the feeling of your club face, I'm like, you better aim left then. I don't have to tell you. But, teaching PGA pros, I think the mutual understanding and, they must respect you enough to come see you just like any person. And I actually thank every person that comes in my lesson tee. I'm like, thank you for being here. You don't have to listen to what I have to say, but I appreciate that you're spending the time to come in and, giving me a shot to help you with your game. And they appreciate that. And I think PGA pros have more of that understanding because they are professional. They understand what you do. And they're actually, that's probably like, like he's been helping Braden with this putting forever, with this getting you situated, get like the make fields, like we talked about the putting configuration, how that really helped him. And like, so I've been teaching him for the last couple of years, and he's been pretty understanding. They're actually kind of easy to deal with. They're not really that difficult. Now you talk about like a tour player, like a PJ Tour player. I only have one guy right now that's on like the Champions Tour, but tour players they're picky, like, and they're really good. So you better know what you're talking about, clear, concise message, and it better work too, because those are the guys you got to watch out for.
So what do you get with them? Like one shot, basically, one comment.
Well,
Like,
for like a
in a lesson with them, like, is it like if you give them a comment and they don't like it, and they don't like that road that they're going to go down with that, do they just shut off? Or
well, not.
how,
I mean,
like, how does that work?
I try to make it like I like saying we a lot in the lesson tee. Like, we are a team. We are going to figure out what suits you and what works best based on like a number of things. Like maybe it's a time constraint, maybe it's a physical constraint. Sometimes equipment constraints. I know you see that a ton where you want to do something and you don't have a club that's going to do it for you. It's not going to work well.
Yeah.
So I mean, learning and understanding too how people learn is giving me great insight on how I can, throw audibles in a lesson situation to help that golfer. Because if someone doesn't like something, I'll be like, look, that's fine, but sometimes there's ways to work around it that we can kind of accommodate a feel that, because I never ask if anything feels good or bad ever. You'll never see me in a lesson tee or hear me in a lesson say, does that feel good? I'll be like, how does that feel? Does it feel different? Because you can be different. It can be different, feel awful, and guess what? You hit a baby fade, and you're like, "Well, I really like that."
Yeah.
So it's a give and take a lot. So that way, like the student feels involved, and it's not just someone regurgitating. All right, you need to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
So I mean, I haven't had really anybody. I mean, I have kicked one person out of a lesson tee at a golf club. This is a while ago, because he's trying to teach me and told me I didn't know what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, there you go. There's your door. I'll refund your money back.
Wow.
Long time ago. This is a while ago.
Wow.
So I'm like, you're paying me to help you.
Yep.
That's the service that I'm providing you. But you're telling me how to teach in my own facility during a lesson.
We all know people like
It happens.
that.
Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it does happen. Absolutely. I've heard. It happened to me when I was volunteering at the Oaks Golf Show this year. Guy came up to me and basically was like, "I'm going to tell you how to do this," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, next." Like,
yeah, I mean, and it's tough because your members, they're paying your paycheck. I mean, you gotta be very careful. So that's definitely over the years you learn how to like tell someone to like understand our side of it.
you know what I do? I push them off on other people. That's what I do. I'm like, you know what? This person's going to work perfect for
Like,
you.
oh God, watch out for Mrs. McGillicuddy. I sent her towards you now. You got to watch out.
I mean, but like, and sometimes like you just know, like that person has more patience than I do, or this person has seen, that type of person more often. So you just, and that's really what I try to do. Like, at least when I worked at a club. Now it's a little bit different, but
Yeah, I mean, just like you don't like. I never force someone to come take a lesson with me. I just said, look, we have more than one instructor because some people like chocolate ice cream and some people like vanilla.
yeah,
And I'm like, you don't have to you don't have to like how I teach. You know, everybody has a person that's going to help them out. And as a team at a club, that's all we care about.
yeah,
That's all we care about.
Yep.
We want you to be better.
yeah,
That's it. Doesn't matter how.
I think there's some likability too that goes into the factor a little bit too. Like if you're a likable guy, people can relate to you. You're easy to speak to, and I think that you have those qualities just by sitting on the couch with me here. But I think again, it's one of those things where I've come into contact with guys that are a little rough around the edges, and that intimidates people a little bit, and it rubs people a little bit the wrong way. So you've got to be receptive. You got to try to build some kind of relationship so that it's not just golf, 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 golf. You want to know about the person a little bit.
Oh, that's huge. I mean, the first 10 minutes I asked them questions. I said, "All right, tell me your golfing story. What sports did you do growing up? Where'd you go to school? All these things." And yeah, the comfortability. They're like, "Okay, he wants to know a little bit about me." And that's something with the help of a lot of great golf pros that I'm trying to work on being a better person, not a better instructor, because we don't teach golf, we teach people. So being a better person helps continually improving your instructional, product. And, you got to know the person to teach them. I mean, like how many people have, I say the word constraint almost every day because it's so important to understand how that person internalizes information so you can externalize it so they can play better golf.
yeah.
I mean, it's our students are not just numbers. Like that's why I don't really call myself a teacher. I'm a coach. Coaches are different. That's the mentoring level. That's the understanding of who that person is. Look at all the great coaches in history. That's what they did. They understood how that person ticks. So that way you can really find what gets them to be great.
Do you prefer, is there a certain age bracket demographic that you like to teach? For me, I teach more juniors than I do adults. They seemed a little bit more receptive to me. So do you have a certain, or do you just say, I like it all?
No, I do like it all. You ask a lot of like other teachers, like really well-rounded teachers, teach even like tour level golfers. They love the 20 handicap lesson with like Mrs. Smith. They love it because they are so happy just because they can hit that 3-wood off. I did a ladies clinic and we did fairway woods, and ladies in fairway woods, we had the conversation, a bunch of stuff, and they need that club.
Yep.
But when they actually had a clinic that really helped them out and do all these things, they were so thrilled. Like a tour player and these guys, like they're happy, don't get me wrong, but like it's tougher to please them where you get like, say, Mrs. Smith coming in and she was hitting low fades and hit a ball that goes 10 yards higher and 20 yards farther. They love you forever. I think that might be my favorite golf lesson because
It gives you a good feeling too.
Oh, I mean, helping anybody gives you a great feeling. I mean, that's that's why I love teaching, because I love helping people. And but their lessons are so much fun. Oh, I had, I'm teaching. We talked about aim point earlier, and I taught this not high handicap, but mid to higher handicap. And she told me she went through the East course without a 3-putt, and that's good for anybody. Like these greens are courses. It's so tough. It's amazingly tough. I can't wrap my head around it.
It's my favorite golf course ever.
I walked it during the Open when it was held there.
It's amazing how difficult it is.
And I think I was on the 6th hole. We were 6th green, and it did a blind shot coming in.
The tee shots, slight dog leg right, blind kind of tee shot.
You can't see the tee box from the green or anywhere around the green. I just remember watching the Marshalls. They were having such a hard time.
Oh, yeah.
And they were standing right next to the ball when it would come in, and they were having such a hard time finding the ball. I think that may have been, during that tournament, that may have been one of the harder holes of the event because of if you didn't catch the fairway, you weren't hitting it on the green. There was no way possible for you. The rough was so thick after all that rain. But
Do you know the 3-ax? Merion's 3-ax?
absolutely not.
So there's you get a lot of stories, you know, the Ben Hogan stories. Like I'm a Ben Hogan buff, so when I saw the plaque, I was like drooling. I'm like, this is amazing. I wanted to like lay down and just like fall asleep next to it. It was like so cool to see. Because you see the picture all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That picture's iconic. I mean, and anyway, but you know, I'm playing with the head pro there, and he's like, do you know the 3-ax? I'm like, no. So the first 3 or 6 holes is drama. Because a lot can happen. But you put the ball in the fairway, like first hole, you can go birdie really quick. Because it's not, the first tee shot is not that difficult. It's not a driver, and you can get, the green's fairly receptive. And I say fairly receptive, everything relative. Second hole, you put a ball in the fairway, you know, you have a wedge into a green, like you can make it happen. But the next 6 holes is comedy because a lot of them you have wedges in. They're shorter holes, but it's comedy. The way I see it is that you could hit a wedge and make a double if you miss the green by a foot. Like, you will. But then the last 6 holes is tragedy because the last 6 holes are ungodly tough. Like, 17, when I played it a step back from the back tee boxes, it's like, was a back right flag, it was 265. But if you see the green, like, you can't miss it left. Missing it short, that putt is very difficult. That hill is, like, straight up in the air. You miss it right with the right flag, like, good luck. You just got to hit a good shot. And then the very last hole, I didn't realize, like, there's American flag out there. You aim like right at it with a little draw. If I'm getting that wrong, apologize, Merion members. I'm still kind of getting the reins of it. But if you miss it a yard right or a yard left into that green, you got no chance. 0.
And it's a longer shot than I think a lot of people realize. Up the hill to the green that sits back there. It's a longer shot than most people probably realize, even the pros. I remember watching Mickelson was in contention that year, and he put 2 3-woods in his bag, I think, that year. Didn't put a driver, and it hurt him.
Big experiment.
It was Justin Rose ended up winning, but it was one of those shots where Justin Rose hit a shot that, I mean, it was an immaculate shot, but he flew it so far back, and then it had zip on it when it came back onto the green, put him in perfect position, made the putt, wins the tournament. And it's just like, you see some of these guys, but you see some of the holes out there, and, you know, some of it was blocked off. You could not get to certain holes.
No, you don't.
Because it's not easy to walk. It's not especially with spectators. But I just remember walking off that property that day saying, I don't think I'll ever play here because if the marshals are standing there and can't find the ball, what do you think is going to happen when I hit the ball off the tee? And even though they've got caddies out there, it's like I'll go through probably 24 golf balls because I can't find the ball.
14 through 18 at Merion's got to be the hardest stretch of golf from the back tees.
It's ridiculous. I mean, 14, like they made a new tee. So I didn't know this until when I just heard people talk about it. They made a new tee box behind. So like there's the 14 tee box. To the left of it is the East Course putting green, and behind the 14 tee box they made a new one. So typically from the tips, I think that bunker, we'll say 265 carry the left one, but then if you keep going, you get a farther bunker. They put it like 40 yards back, so that left bunker is now like almost, I don't know what it was, maybe 300 carry. So you can't hit it in the left rough because you got no chance to get to the green, and it's probably 180 from that point, maybe 170. So you have to land it in the sliver of fairway, but if you miss it a yard right, it bounces and goes into these little bunkers on the right, and you got a 6-iron in your hand, and you got no chance. So and then you get to the next hole, and you miss it a yard right into that green, you're done. You're in one of those bunkers. That might be an option if you're in the back of it, but then the next 3, I mean, it's so brutally tough. If you're a scratch golfer, if you're a 0, because I did the Saturday game at one point, if you're a 0 handicap from tips, you get 4 shots.
Wow. Wow.
And it's such a
like that's
Love that.
Think about that. Like I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
and it's such a great setup for the U.S. Open. I don't. Do we know if it's when it's coming back?
Yeah.
there?
So 2026 is U.S. Amateur.
Okay.
So my goal is to have one of my students in that, or just any Merion member would be amazing. That talk about the story for that.
Oh, yeah.
And then 2030 is U.S. Open.
Okay.
Because I think 2026 is Aronimik,
Yep.
right? U.S. Open.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's going to be some nice. I mean,
Philly
Philly
golf
courses
is
are
great.
so. Philly golf is so good. I mean, it's just Philly and New York. I mean, take your pick. You're doing a pretty darn good job.
Oh, absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you get some like, obviously we got Pine Valley in the middle of Jersey, but it's even into Jersey, right? It's like Connecticut down
Well,
to
Country Club
Baltimore.
of Scranton. I've never played it, and I didn't even realize how highly regarded that course is.
That place is awesome.
I didn't realize it, but section championships here, it's going to be great. I mean, it's up it's like might as well be in Canada at this point. It's so far north, but
Depending on our weather and where we play the tees in our section championship, I'm predicting about an even par score.
hey, even par wins U.S. Opens.
Yeah, but I mean that's
Same.
that's how hard that place is.
But I know me and you, we want the course to be super difficult
Yes.
because we know that I remember Bent Creek.
Yep.
So the greens are rolling. I played first day in the afternoon, and these greens were crispy bacon.
Oh yeah.
They were rolling superintendents. I'm like, what do you think they're rolling? He's like, they're probably 14.5 right now. And I'm like, good. No, but this is the thing, and I've talked about this with my old head pro. I've talked about many, certain golfers, say us, we want it to be more difficult because we know it's going to take a lot of the people out.
Yep.
And this is no disrespect, but if you look at a field, you can kind of separate it in quarters. Quarter of them are just, they work too much. They can't, unfortunately, progress the way they want. So they're there to just have fun, play golf, whatever it is. Then you got another quarter of it is they can hit the ball well. They're not too, disciplined, but they can make a run. But when you make a course super difficult, it narrows the field. So, and it's kind of like what Brooks Koepka a little bit said a while ago. He's like, I'm just trying to really, if you think about it, you're trying to beat, and this is not the way I think, but it holds a little water that, you're trying to beat 20 people.
Yeah.
We know in the tournaments, who's going to be around the top of the leaderboard. We know that if we have the last hole and then we see that guy out there, we know okay, we need to either put the pedal to the metal or hit some greens, make some pars, and you're going to lock it up.
Yeah. But I think we all have to agree that 14 on the stent meter.
Oh, love it.
It's great.
Love it.
It's hard.
It's difficult.
It is hard, but
play hard.
It's not reality. The guys that they're playing at the
that
highest,
day, it's reality, and that's what matters.
But here's the thing: the guys that are playing on the highest level of our sport aren't playing at 14 on the stent meter.
Now, to defense, Bent Creek's greens are not that crazy undulated, so you could put it at the 14 and it was playable. But if you do a 14 at some certain golf courses with the crazy undulation,
that's what I'm talking about.
That can be that's a double down. We've seen.
Yeah, we don't get that.
We average probably a 10.5 maybe.
Yeah, let's say 10
which is and then but for harder tournaments they should not trick it up, but they should be all right, well, if you want to win, you got to play well.
Yeah, if you don't have a lot of undulation in the greens and they're pretty much flat for the most part, yeah, of course, let it be glass. I'm good with that. But that's not typically the case in the tournaments you guys play.
Look, when they're on tour, when they're playing a flatter golf course, those greens are faster. This week, I don't know what the green speeds are this week.
They haven't turned the sub airs. Got some insider. They didn't turn the sub air on immediately, but now they're drying the greens out. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. But those greens are undulated.
Oh yeah.
Like crazy. So they're gonna have to limit that a little bit because of the slopes.
But the U.S. Open has been known to let the course get away from them. We have to talk about that. I mean, or not talk about it, we have to at least admit that. So I'm okay with it. The U.S. Open's supposed to be the hardest event of the year, according to the majors. And most people with the thicker roughs and the faster greens. But, over
I just want to see an over par score. That's all I care about.
I'm fine with that, too.
Isn't it amazing how, if you're a golf pro, you're we want to see, even par.
Yeah.
But if you're not a golf pro, you're We want 20 under par.
No,
like
I
some
wanna
like
see
Caves
it.
Valley stuff in Tour Championship where they're making like
Yep.
50 birdies in like 4 rounds. You're like, how? I don't even know how that's possible.
We expect that out of the U.S. Open, out of the majors. We expect these conditions. So, I'm excited for it. L.A. Country Club, that's going to be a great event starting. It's already started. What's insight on that club that you have? Do you have any experience there? Or,
No, so I have one of my students. He's over there, and it's just a bunch of my friends that I talk to. They're over there at the event, and I talked to actually a coach that's teaching one of their students at LA this week too, and he's like, okay, fairways are pretty wide. They're pretty wide, but if you're in the rough with this Bermuda, it's a layup. Because if you put yourself in a bad spot around the green, you're just like, again, U.S. Opens, take bogeys. Like, just take them. Take your medicine. Like, you're good. You're pretty good as a pro. You can chip out and put on the green and, maybe make a par, whatever it is. But the fairways are very wide. Favors draws. That's what I was told. There's going to be it's going to be very tactical on some holes because, like, there's a very short par 4. And my buddy's like, I don't even see anybody going for this green. There's no way.
Wow.
Because it's so firm, and when you land it, there's fescue all around the green. So, like, if you go for it, and, like, we've seen, like, at Riviera, what is it, Riviera 10?
Yes.
Where, like, people go for the green. But there's trouble, but you're not, like, fescue. It's just bad spots to be in, but you got to hit a really good short game shot. So it's going to be interesting to see how – especially people play that hole, and then, what is it, 12, the short par 3?
Yes.
It's going to be like 80-some yards. This was crazy to think. I just saw a video. Ricky even thought about, like, laying up to, like, the fairway to the right to have an angle to pitch it up and make par.
Well, the green's, like, as wide as this
Yeah.
carpet right here.
And, like, the green, yeah.
I don't think, is it 12? Because I think 11 is I saw
It's
online.
12 what is it, 12?
11
I
is
thought
like
it
a
was 12.
280 par 3.
No. You're talking about the short.
No, there's like it's a wedge. It's like 80 yards. It's going to be. If it's a front flag, it's going to be.
It's the shortest one. I
Yeah.
think I
But
was at
literally, Drew, your landing area is right here.
It's
I
like,
think but I think at some point they were saying at the max they were going to play it was 124.
Yeah, that is correct. That's what I heard too. Yeah,
but
because
there's one that's 280, 290. It's downhill. Guys are taking driving irons and
Doesn't
putting it
matter.
on.
It's still 280.
yeah.
I get that. I still get that. But I mean, it's the guys are taking driving irons and putting out and making pars and walking away. So people are posting those signs on Instagram. It's how big this par 3 is, and I'm like, I saw a guy hit it, and it's like,
Well, even it's like here, because I'm starting to dive in the numbers a ton, and like, because I thought about Merion 17, like, well, what if you're 260? What is like the expected strokes to par like a PJ Tour player has?
And
I'm like, okay, I mean, it ain't gonna be. I'm like, it ain't gonna be par. I know that much. So
you're a numbers guy.
All right, what is it?
I'm starting to get
guessing
into.
3.6.
Here you go. So here you go. So let's see, 260, 3.45.
Okay, all right.
So if you make a bogey, you're really not doing bad.
No.
Like if you're just not. But if you make a par, it's like, well, I mean, these guys on par 3s half the time anyway, they're center of the green and 2-putt. Center green 2-putt on a par 3. Just do it. It's not gonna.
It's funny you say that because when I played out in New Mexico a couple of months ago, my caddy Nick Biondi, that's all he kept saying to me. He's like, Mike, this par 3 is over 200 yards. He goes, on tour, this is like a 3.2 hole, 3.3 hole. He goes, just get yourself in a position where you can make par. Making par is a good score here, and let's move on. He's like, you don't have to birdie these holes.
It's not really designed.
Yeah.
Like that's why even like at the Haverford, I just told myself birdie the par 5s.
Yeah.
Because they're all gettable.
Yeah.
They're all gettable. Par 3s, center of the green 2-putt.
Yep.
I mean, it's that you're not gonna win your golf tournaments on your par 3 average. You're just not.
So,
but you can sure lose golf tournaments off a bad par 3 average.
So I have a good one for you. So in 2019, I think I was 9th in the section. And going into 2020, I said, what do I need to do to win Player of the Year? So it's been a couple of years.
Tee off against me in the second round of the match play?
That too. but I had to figure out what do I have to do to win Player of the Year? And I just looked at my stats and I said, man, my par 3 scoring average is like 3.5.
That's
this is terrible. So in 2020, my par 3 scoring average went to 2.8.
Oh,
and I won Player of the Year.
That's impressive. And that's so I did the same thing in the sense, I went from a draw to a cut 3 years ago.
Yep.
My scoring average went down like 3, but it was like my par 5 average was 5.4. I'm like, well, that's not going to fly. So now my par 5 average is like 4.2, but then of course I saw the par 3 average is 3.4. I'm like, well, I'm just shooting even, and this is not going to work. So now it's like, and I use stat tracking things like Clipped and stuff, and I'm like, all right, I got to work on, like, I'm so good from 180, but I'm awful from 140. It makes 0 sense to me.
Wow.
I don't get it. I gain strokes on 180, but I lose them on 140 to 160. Blows my mind.
That's very interesting.
I have this knockdown 6 that I hit like a chippy 6 that goes 180. Even on TrackMan Combine, my scores on they're like high 80s, low 90s on 180. But then when I get to 150, I'm like 65, 70. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't get it. I have no idea.
I mean, they say the average tour player from 100 yards hits it to like 12, 13 feet.
Oh, it's way far. It's more than
maybe
that.
15 feet. And
it's what did I just do from
100
to 125 yards from the fairway? If I remember correctly, it's the average tour flow. This is from the fairway. It's 20 feet 9 inches, 100 to 125.
Drew, have you messed around with the new range on TrackMan yet?
No, I don't.
I use it a
I'm
ton.
not.
It's awesome.
I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, just for now on when you come, just use that, and it'll give you tour stats from that yardage.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'll give you like
Gives you a benchmark.
It'll give you a circle in there, and it'll give you the tour circle, then it'll give you a 15 handicap circle. It's awesome. That's all I use now. I won't use shot analysis anymore.
I mean, I will say this. It's funny because I spent a lot of time in the wintertime here, indoor, hitting balls, playing with my buddies, and I've gone out now that the weather's nice, and the ball just, I'm striking it well, but the ball's going so much further than it has been inside. And I like that aspect a little bit to me because I know that, I know the true number, but there's something to be said about hitting outdoors. And for me, it's an adjustment. Now, again,
there's something you're doing because my numbers indoors and outdoors are identical.
Me too.
Mine are not. Mine are not. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the conditions out on the course, how dry we've been, and this and that.
Well, what are you talking about? You're talking carry or total?
I've been clubbing down up in this area, but
what numbers are you looking at indoors? Total or carry?
No, carry. I'm not looking at total.
Then what are you looking at outdoors? Total or carry?
Carry.
Okay.
Because what my goal is carry. I know typically how far the ball is going to release after I hit most of my clubs.
Are you using the same golf balls indoor and outdoor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
And to me, it's like I don't. That's not a slide on TrackMan. It's not a slide on anything. I find it interesting that I can go out and from 150 yards inside and playing on a course indoors on the TrackMan. Now again, I've had a couple high noons. Don't hold it against me. But then I go outside and I've had a couple high noons. And
you got to keep your baseline the same though. If you have 4 high noons inside, you got to do 4 outside though.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't change you got to keep your baseline
down. The level is the same. But what I'm saying is like I feel like I'm going outside now and I'm clubbing down and getting the same result.
So we weren't going to tell you, but Mike and I have been messing with the altitude on you for like the last. The cat's out of the bag now. We might as well just tell you so you can get your numbers back. But
it's either that or you do a terrible job at gauging wind and slope. It's one or the other.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. When you're playing like a round on TrackMan, the wind is in meters per second.
I tell you what, John's done that to me before by accident.
And sometimes when it gets windy, you don't even look at it. And so I'm hitting a shot, and I'm like, how is that short? And it's like, well, it's like 5 or 6 miles an hour wind in your face. That's why it's short. And so that could be a factor.
I'll tell you what, my Dunnigan's done this before where we're working on something, and we go on the TrackMan range, and he puts the wind up, And I'm like 150, and he's like, all right, 10-mile-per-hour wind. I'm like, all right, I'll flight down to 7 or an 8, whatever. And I'm like 20 yards short. I'm like, what's going on here? And he didn't change it from meters to miles per hour. And we were doing the whole lesson. He's like, Nick, you're gonna kill me. I'm like, what?
It's like 20
He's like,
miles,
I'm like,
20,
he's like,
25.
I didn't change it to miles per hour. We started lying. I'm like,
So it's
all
like
right,
25,
so I'm not,
30 miles an
and I
hour
said,
in his face.
And I'm like, I'm checking like the contact. I'm like, John, I'm hitting it square. Like I'm roping this ball. And we had a good laugh about it, but he did that one to me. So now it's in my head every time I use TrackMan range. I'm like, look at that for the M.
Yeah.
Make sure it's an MPH, not an M/S. I'm like, okay, we're good now.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't even realize that was an option, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I knew you
Because
could change it.
I
We
don't
just
I don't
never
mess
do
with
it.
the wind on it. That's so I never mess with it at
Oh,
all.
I mess like even like when I'll have students go to different states or countries, whatever. I'll change altitude on the range so that they know it's maybe 10%, or like when they did it in Mexico, when the altitude was so crazy, I actually just messed around with changing altitude and just doing compare and contrast, a little field study, like what are they dealing with? And I'm like 7-iron's like 200. I'm like, oh, this is fun. Or like
So-
Arizona, like what if you're doing nationals? I'll tell the people, I'm like, if you go practice inside, you better use that altitude that week. You got to prepare yourself for that quick math.
Oh yeah, I mean everyone handles that stuff differently, right?
Yeah.
We just did it real simple. Like if it was into the wind shots, it was the same yardage as home.
Yeah.
So 7-iron was 175.
Yeah.
Right, and then crosswind, club up 1, or down, however you want to say
Yeah.
it. And then if we were downwind, it was anywhere from like 2 to 3.
Because it was pretty windy there, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some par 5s that were like 675. We were going driver pitching wedge. Like just crazy downhill,
That's sick.
downwind, firm as can be, like 200-yard shots. There was times where I hit pitching wedge.
Oh yeah, I
And
believe
it was
it.
just like it was
You're like, you just
so
gotta,
difficult.
And it's like, you have 200 in your head and you have a pitch wedge, and you're like, man.
You're trying to rip it.
Yeah, I'm like, but you're like, this, and then you actually rip it, and I always, I don't like, this is the shot I think about, Huntington Valley, the par 5. It's like,
Oh yeah.
whatever you think you need to hit, you better take down 30 yards.
Yes.
Like I hit like the worst tee shot ever last year, and I was like 320 on that hole. That's a bad tee shot. Like
Yep.
you should have 260. And I have 5-wood, and I go over the green by 15 yards. I'm like, what just happened? But like
Yeah, I mean,
you gotta just trust it to like you just gotta absolutely trust that thing.
You're right. That's exactly how it played out in New Mexico. I mean, it'd be 300, 320, and it was like 4-iron.
Like that's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it did depend on when you played the golf course. Like I played at 7:20 a.m., 30-mile-an-hour wind in
Ugh.
my face, 500-yard hole. I
God,
went driver 5-wood.
That sounds awful.
It was awful. But the guys in the afternoon, they had like 75 degrees, not a lot of wind. They're going driver sandwich.
Yeah.
Not even. They're going 4-iron sandwich.
Man, that tee times. I've had 3 events or 2 events this year. First tee time, I'm like a 9:30 guy.
Yep.
God, I love that 9:30. Every section event, I have the same tee time. It's like 9:20 or 9:30.
I'm not trying to get up
I'm
at
9:30
6:30
And
to go.
I'm up at like 5:30. Like I'm just up. Like our dog wakes us up wanting to go out. So I'm like, all right, but it's like I have that routine. That's why, like, if I chose a 2 o'clock tee time, I'm all messed up. My day, like, I have to, like, wake up at, like, almost, like, quote-unquote 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
But I'm up for 5 hours already.
Well, I'm glad you said you had a dog because I thought it was really weird you had dogs on your socks.
Oh, this is my old dog.
Oh,
Yeah, so
kudos to your old dog. Rest in peace.
The sock game for golf pros, I don't care how hot it is, I'm wearing long socks. My sock drawer, along with my shoe collection, is kind of getting a little absurd.
You know
right
what?
The shoe collection's unreal.
I
can only imagine yours.
now. It's great.
I
love
love them. What size shoes are those?
Do I have to? Oh God,
Yeah, you got to tell me because if they're 9.5,
Would they fit,
I'm,
Drew?
I'm
No.
stealing
To
them.
say that. Would they fit, Drew?
I'm a size 8.
Okay. All right.
So if you ask Patty Buckus a lot, I buy from Kids Jordan, and then I tell him, yeah, dude, it's like half off. It's sizes 8 and below are for kids, and I get half off on all my Jordans. So I'm like, I'm perfect.
So what were you, a 7.25 deck then?
Oh God, I can't believe you just said that. That's great. I had to flip my mind. Yeah, I'd switch.
Okay.
When I'd skate vert ramps, I'd go wider.
Oh my God, he just did a skateboard reference, and I'm sitting over here and I'm like, What the fuck is he talking about? He just said, "Are you a 7.2?"
I love how
skateboard?
I love how he
God.
flipped that. I'm like, wait, 7. I'm like,
When he said skateboard, I got
you know
excited.
what? You know what? The last time I heard someone refer to a width, I mean, it's been like forever.
I'm sure.
I appreciate you. That's a. What were you? 7.25? 7.5 for a ramp. 7.25 for street. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Dude, I skated like 2 or 3 times until I hit a piece of gravel and fell straight on my
that's
face.
the worst.
And I was like, this is stupid. Why would I skate when I can, and if I got to wear knee pads and like elbow pads and a helmet, like, no, I'm going to be a lazy fat kid as a kid. And so, whatever. I'm not going to skateboard.
Mike knows a skateboarder's worst enemy is literally a pebble this big.
Yep.
That's like, because when you hear the and you you're Supermaning, you're done.
I mean, look at my shins, dude. Like my shins are all jacked up.
Oh, you got great shins.
I mean,
They're
they're
beautiful.
they're all jacked up.
They're white.
Oh, I got a
They're
dent.
white.
I got a dent in one from when the skateboard. You could still see it. You could see the dent
Nice.
in my shin from a skateboard hitting me.
All right, I guess since we're all showing fucking legs here, let's all look at our white fucking legs. Yes, we're in the golf business and we don't wear shorts because we're not on the live tour. But yes, we all have white legs.
Oh,
so.
we can wear shorts soon.
Yes.
I'm wearing
next
shorts.
Month.
I'm caddying on Monday because I can't play, so I'm wearing. I called Brian. I'm like, hey Brian, I'm caddying. Can I wear shorts? He's like, you're not a player this week. I'm like, sick.
Nice.
So who are your picks this week?
So I really like Xander Schauffele. I think he's been catching some steam. It's wider fairways, so that's going to help him a little bit. I mean, he is a ball striker, but he's not. He's tour average because I had to look this up before I just said something. He's like tour average, I think, with fairways hit, which we know that it's not the biggest deal, but in U.S. Opens you better hit the fairways.
Oh yeah.
But with the draw, he's got distance. I heard people tell me that his chipping was really good that week, so getting some guys over there say, yeah, he's been chipping really well, so that's a good thing to see. I'll tell you what, I've been hearing a lot of Phil Mickelson and SoCal vibes. I'm telling you, I've been hearing that a ton, and he's probably riding high because of what happened with PJ Tour and Live. He's a SoCal guy, like I mean, it would kind of be a dream ending for him to finish the Grand Slam. I mean, it favors a draw with the righties, so favoring a fade with the lefties, like, doesn't have to really work it both ways. I mean, he's a great putter. His short game's really, really good. I mean, if he makes right decisions, why not? He just won a PGA at arguably one of the toughest setups with wind and Kiowa, and if you play Kiowa,
Yep.
you know how difficult it can be. Like, it's not a bad pick. I even picked. I mean, it sounds bad. I'm picking a lot of live guys. I mean, Patrick Reed hits draws, putts well, short game's amazing.
I like Brooks just because.
I mean, it's tough.
Brooks.
I mean, I'll say against. I'm not picking to be the contrarian, but like, I'm in a majors pool, and I've already picked Scotty Scheffler and Brooks Koepka. So I'm like, all right, who am I gonna pick? And I don't know. I mean, I don't mind those picks. I mean, I've heard a lot. I think I've heard whispers of Russell Henley playing kind of well, like some random ones. But I don't know. I mean, I even picked Austin Treslow, a bender guy that draws the golf ball one-handed. He's the guy that one-handed chips.
Yeah, that's weird.
Which he does it really well. He did it to get up and down to win, I think, a national title, if I remember correctly. But,
yeah.
I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be brought into it because you don't have to be an amazing ball striker. You can be one of those scrappy ball strikers and hit it fairly straight.
Do you think somebody like a Kevin Kisner's got a chance here?
I mean, I love me some Kevin Kisner.
Is he in the field?
I mean,
he's top whatever world rankings.
I don't know why he wouldn't be.
Okay,
He's top 50.
I tell you what, it's not a bad pick. I asked my buddy. I said, is distance like an advantage? He's like, it's not. It's an advantage for some holes, but he didn't say if you hit it far, you're good.
But I mean, don't you think though, like if a guy can hit his driving iron 300 yards, I mean that's got to be an advantage because he's going to hit straight.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, I mean, with less loft and more speed. Yeah. You better be that much more efficient. I mean, it's just physics at that point.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, like if you hit it really far and really straight, yeah, great. Like that's why Scotty Scheffler I think is going to have a chance because his ball striking is absurdly good.
Yeah.
The strokes gained on his ball striking is like it blows my mind.
I think the person that finds the fairway the most this week, and obviously that may sound like a stupid comment, but I think the person that hits more fairways this week is going to win this golf tournament. You're not going to see somebody that's hitting, 60% of the fairways win this tournament. The rough is gnarly. It should be, but you're not going to see that. And so, like you say, you got a guy like a Kevin Kisner that can hit the ball, maybe not hit it long as everybody else, but he's putting it in the fairway. That's
and he putts it really good.
You look at, but you got to look at somebody like Jordan Spieth too. He doesn't put it in the fairway that much, and I say that he puts it in more than I'm saying, but he puts himself in positions to where he's got to hit a special shot.
He needs a good start.
He does, but he's a great putter as well. Like, from 8 to 12 feet, he's probably one of the best putters on tour. I don't know if I like him at a U.S. Open like this, but I like your Phil pick.
I love the Phil pick. That's
I
a good
do.
one.
I honestly didn't think about it until like every other golfer, like, oh, who am I picking for my majors pool? And I'm looking at like, oh, you literally type in U.S. Open predictions 2023. Like, I'm like, instead of doing my crazy in-depth research, I'm just going to just listen to CBS and see what I can get out of that. But a lot of the guys, you kind of saw the name just pop up a lot, and I just kind of, see if I hear the name a ton. And Phil was just one of them. Yeah. He really, really was. And you don't have to hit it, like, because the fairways are relatively wide, you don't have to be super straight, but you could still put it in the fairway. But
I think it depends on how aggressive he is this week.
Now, also in that, from a friend of a friend, he says you could see scores from 63 to 75. Like, he says you could see some. That's why I think like 10 under is I think that's a good number. I think 9 or 10 under, 270 is going to win it. If you're just like we're talking about, if you get to a double digit in U.S. Open, you might have to beat one person. Yeah. At that point.
Yeah, you're putting it in cruise control at that point. You're just trying to make pars.
That's why I like Brooks, because I feel like he can do that.
And he's smart. He doesn't really make that many mental mistakes. Like, he's
golf smart.
He's just good.
He's golf so smart.
Yeah.
And what would be 3-3, right? 3 PGAs and 3 U.S. Opens.
Yeah.
That'd be absurd. That's a rare air.
It really is. Wow. I still think Phil would be the best story, hands down. And then just go sail off in the sunset. Go do whatever you want after that, Phil. He's good after that.
Yeah,
he never needs to play another round of golf again in his life. Like, that would just be the best story, I think. I think it'd be really good for golf right now too, for where golf is right now.
For the last couple of years and what he's been put through, some of it's self-inflicted a little bit, but the majority it hasn't been. And it, like you say, it'd be a great story to see him hit the lows, come back out, and finish what he's been trying to do for the last 15, 20 years. And it's, I'm hoping.
Years.
Do what?
25 years.
Okay, 25 years. I think that it just would be a great story. The PGA needs the unity again. They need people to understand that they're trying to continue to grow the game. And, again, I hope he wins. I really do. I hope he's up there and he's in contention. And, I hope we see a good event. I hope we don't see something where it's a +2, +3 wins.
I don't think you're going to see that. I think it's the fairways are too wide, and these guys are really good with their approach shots. That I don't see I just don't see it.
Do you remember when Rory said it may have been, I don't know where they were playing, but he was saying the fairways are 60 to 70 yards wide, and if you can't hit that, you don't deserve to be out here. And he didn't make the cut. He didn't make the cut.
It's funny. You know what his dispersion pattern is left to right? It is 60 yards. 60 yards. 40. I think it's 47 yards. I might flip this. I think it's 47 yards left and 17 yards right.
Wow.
It might be flipped, but it's 60 yards. One of the best drivers that we know of.
Yeah.
But guess he was right. And also it just always goes to, you got to be careful what you say because it might not age too well.
Yep.
Be very careful what you say.
So if you had any advice to give to our listeners and people watching today about how to approach the game now and to try to get better, what would you suggest besides getting a lesson, something to focus on, something to work on to try to be better?
So you can talk for hours about that. I mean, I think to try to get better, you first have to be open to hear what people have to say, because you might hear it a different way. You might hear something new, because that's the thing I constantly work on. I think your best training aid is your ears, because you have to listen and then let your mind and brain process what's going on, so that way you can commit to what you want to do. And I mean, you just gotta. You gotta have an internal motivation to really want to be better.
Right.
I mean, that's why. Like, I don't need a pump up video or like a New Year's resolution. Don't get me started. To like be better. Like you have to have the want to be better, and then from there again, be open to listening what people have to say, and then just time and effort. I mean, I don't think being better is a difficult formula to understand. Time and effort will make it better.
Well said.
Yeah.
I mean,
So Nick, so there's however many kids at home right now that are skateboarders. They're 10, 12 years old. Okay, not really sure where they're going with their life. What would you say to them? To they. All right, let me take that back. I'm sorry. So they're sitting at home right now. They're skateboarders. They want to become golf pros. They want to have one of the best jobs that's out there in the country, working at a club that's a top 10 course in the world. What would you say to them on what they need to do to get to that position?
well, keep skateboarding, because I'll tell you what, skateboarding has helped me, because I hit the ball pretty far for my size. Mm-hmm. I don't use the top drawers in my kitchen. I need a stool for that. But I can get it out there because of all the sports I did, especially skateboarding. Like, my rotation is pretty strong, and I was really good at 360s.
Yep.
That was my jam.
Okay.
But when it comes to I hate to be redundant, but if you want to be great, first you have to see yourself in that situation. Like Rob Labritz, really, really great golfer. I mean, medaled in Champions Tour Q School last year, really, really good. I was going to the semifinals against Trevor that week when I played you, and he's like, you got to be able to see yourself holding the trophy. You have to visualize and understand that, like, you're not going to get it unless you see it. Like, you have to tell yourself that you're going to win this event, see yourself, visualize it, and then work hard to get there, because it's the process that's eventually going to get you to be, like, goals are great, but you have to have a process to eventually get you to be in those things. Like, all these really high-level athletes, all I hear is, like, the little steps that constantly gets them to the top of the leaderboard or top of, where they want to be. And I just think that's, like, the way you got to do it a little bit.
Yeah, and you have to enjoy it, too. You have to enjoy that part.
I don't teach because it's a good paycheck or anything. I do it because I love it. And when people see that, it's easy for them to come back too. Like, when you just say something like, if you got any questions, shoot me an email. I'll be more than welcome to help you out. Like, just that follow-up and that care, not just, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
That helps a ton.
So in your downtime, do you skateboard in the parking lot?
Yes, a little bit.
Do you really?
It's funny. Every time I drive to, I'm like, man, that handrail's sick. You ever do that? I'm like that hubba on that 8 stair is. Oh, I would love to backside tail slide that thing.
I wasn't that good.
So do you have to go into a special place to skateboard, or are the folks at where you are comfortable?
What do you mean, like my apartment complex?
No, I'm talking about where you work.
Oh no, I don't. No, so it's funny. I went into a golf committee meeting because usually they don't invite pros in golf committee meetings.
Yeah.
But they wanted to hear what I had to say about my upbringing and stuff, and I talked about skateboarding a lot.
Oh, you didn't roll in and then flip the board up and catch it in the air and walk
I tell you,
right
one of them even asked, "Do you have a video of you skateboarding?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll show you." But there's no cell phones allowed inside, so I'll show you later.
Nice.
So I'll make sure I didn't break a rule in front of the golf committee and my head pro. I don't want to do that.
Nice.
But no, I mean, like, the best part is that they just repaved a parking lot right next to my apartment complex, and it's so smooth. And I'm like, I can't wait to do a little skateboarding on that. I'm
That's
all
awesome.
about that.
I'm literally going to show up to the next event with a skateboard, and I'm just going to skateboard down the cart path.
Oh, it'd be so good.
Whenever I'm paired with Nick, I'm bringing it, and I'm just going to skateboard down the path.
That's why I want to play golf and use one of those like skateboarding things
Yep.
while you go play golf. Like you see those things at the
Oh,
PJ
yeah.
show.
Oh, yeah,
Those
yeah,
things
yeah.
those things look so much fun.
Oh, it's
That's
awesome.
that's an out west thing, like in Arizona.
Yeah.
That's a thing that they do out there. You couldn't do it out here. Philly people just don't take care of anything.
Have you been to New York?
Yeah, I've been to New York.
Times it by 20.
Yeah.
Oh God, I mean, New York's it's a great place, but oof.
I'm a Philly boy.
I like
love
Philly. I love Philly.
I'm a Philly boy.
Because you know why? Because Philly people love Philly and no one else likes us, and we're totally okay with that.
Exactly.
We love that.
That's why I love Philly so much. All right, well, Nick, hey, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for allowing me to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to have you back too. I think it's something down the road. Once we start growing our podcast bigger and bigger, we want to have guys that are in our section that are doing great things, and we want to continually put them up on a pedestal because it's nothing but showcasing our area, and it's a great thing for us to do. And I think people want to see it.
Yeah, and I think the Philadelphia section is, you hear about a lot of other sections, but, I think Philadelphia section is, top 2, top 3 easy. I mean, for the purses we have, the tournaments that we have, the tournaments for every level, when it comes to either assistant, head pro championships, seniors, all that kind of stuff. I mean, the courses we play, like, we can put it up to really any other section. And, we have some great people in here, and it's just, we got to just keep showing them why we're great and how we can work together to be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Appreciate you coming on, man.
Keep doing all the great things that you're doing, man. It's awesome. I love watching it. When I found out you got the job at Merion, I was just like so happy for you. I believe I reached out. I hope I did. If I didn't, I apologize.
No, you did.
Okay.
You did.
But no, I mean, it's just it's great to see, because you usually you hear oh, the guy from Pine Valley went to Merion, the guy from Merion goes to Baltusrol, so it was really cool to see, and I thought that was awesome. And congratulations to all your hard work and you doing all the things you did to get to that point. And
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
it's awesome, and I look up to you for that, and I'm sure all the other pros in the area are doing the same exact thing, saying, hey, what is Nick doing? He's doing something right. So how can we go and pick his brain and find out, the things he's doing so we can learn from that as well and continue to grow and just continue to grow the section and, continue to grow golf. It's great that you do the PGA Hope stuff as well, and, you do some stuff with the First Tee as well, right?
Previously, a while ago, indirectly, like donating stuff. But, yeah, I'm very PJ Hope. Doing a training in July for pros for who's going to be there? What's his name? Anyway, I can't. I'm losing my mind. Oh, John Pillar. Couldn't think of his name for a sec. I almost said John Spina.
Nice. Yeah, but no, I mean that's awesome. And I think the more that the younger crowd can continue to embrace that and feed off one another to just continue to want to do great things for golf and for our section. So thank you so much.
Yeah, here to help. Anybody needs help, I'm here to help them out.
Absolutely. How can people get a hold of you, contact you?
I mean, feel free to message me on Instagram. It's just Nick Iacono Golf. And then if you want to email me, you can email me. It's niacono7@gmail.com. That's my personal email. Feel free to reach out. And then I'm sure, you can find through degrees of separation my number from people. They'll need a paparazzi out for me, which I doubt they want to take a picture of me anyway, but.
I still don't have Nick's phone number.
Do you not have my phone number?
I don't have your phone number.
Wait a second. You just said, I believe I texted you.
No, I reached out on
Instagram.
Reached out, okay.
Because it's like, I think, is it the case that I have your number and you don't have mine? Is that what it is?
I don't have your phone number. I know that. You may have mine.
No. Okay, good.
We played in a golf tournament together. We were partners in the event.
We just messed on Instagram.
It's great. So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. So, Nick, thank you again so much for coming
Appreciate
out.
it.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Thank
nice
you.
seeing you.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me be here.